somebody that's over there. It was a highly successful show, HBO Real Time with Bill Maher. One of my favorite things was on my bucket list to appear on your show, and you've had me on twice, so I thank you for that. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. It's the best political show on television. I don't care what anybody says. But I will ask you this: when you look at Trump and some of the things that he says, what are you more concerned about in this day and age, Bill? Is it how the right feeds off of what he says, or is it how the left reacts to what he says? What has you more concerned at this particular moment in time as we just purview the landscape, look at our country and the state of affairs that's going on around here?
Well, I love it that you always, like what you were just saying before I came on about free speech, and you said, well, let's be honest, the left sort of courted this a little bit because they weren't exactly champions of free speech. So you always have to look at that. I mean, I know that the woke people don't like it that I do that, and maybe they don't like it that you do it either, but that is the reality, and I think we should all do it a lot more, is just be honest about both sides. I mean, what worries me about Trump the most is that the same people who have been saying for a very long time, oh, Bill, you're so alarmed about Trump. He just says a lot of stuff. He talks a lot. Well, now he's doing it. Let's get real. The talked a lot of stuff, that phase is over. He just fired the person who was investigating Letitia James, right? And Comey and Adam Schiff, and certainly in the James case just said, yeah, I looked into it. This is the mortgage fraud, a made up, your tail light is out kind of crime. Yep. And he said, there's not enough evidence to proceed. Trump fires him and puts in his mole lawyer now. I mean, this is just, this is it. This is not talking about it. You're doing this. You are actually not just talking about weaponizing the Justice Department to punish your political enemies. You're doing it. Right. That worries me.
That does worry me as well. But what also worries me, Bill, is I'm sure it worries you. Who's the candidate on the left that can somehow derail him? Because I don't see anybody with a national presence that can pull that off. Where are you on that?
I see somebody right here in my Zoom camera. And by the way, only for you, Zoom. I hate Zoom, but for you. Where's the Stephen A. Smith presidential bubble?
No. I'd have to give up too much money, Bill. I'd have to give up too much money. I'm not giving up my money, man. I'm not giving up my money.
Money. They'll give you a free play.
At least he was being honest. I believe that about Stephen A. I believe Stephen A. is definitely in it for the money. He's always been in it for the money. As Quay Holcomb put it years ago, and he was correct then, he's correct now, Stephen A. Smith has always been a company guy. Whatever he needed to do to make his boss money, that's what he did. Stephen A. said he woke up every morning with one thing on his mind, how to make his boss more money.
I want America to know this about Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith has a very unique job. He is the voice of the racist corporate world at ESPN. They pay him well to say and speak in the racist voice. That's why he laughs at us. Nothing happens to Stephen A. Smith when he disrespects black people. He does not get in trouble for this. We should never have any type of party, gathering, hangout spot where we are around a Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith should be uncomfortable around black people because he talks about black people. Wait, listen, man, I ain't seen nothing wrong with Kaepernick or Kyrie where they need to get talked about the way he talked about them. Yeah. But Jerry Jones, here's a man in a mob. That's a mob that Jerry Jones was standing in. And he took up for him.
Now, maybe he's moved that a little bit to how can he make himself more money now that he's more autonomous? Yeah. So I will give Stephen A. props for being honest. Most people won't be honest and say that. Hey, I don't want to give up my money. I don't want to give up my money. At least he's not pretending to be like willing to do that.
Plane from Qatar. Are you kidding? You don't worry about money. You don't need money when you're the president. You think the president carries money?
No,
he doesn't need money.
Not for 8 years. Probably
And,
did it after that.
well,
But go ahead.
Well, the Democrats, the reason why, I'm taking you a little more seriously for this is because the Democrats definitely need an outsider. And, you're the only one I hear who, doesn't look like he cares what the other Democrats will say about
I
it.
don't care.
And,
I really don't.
right,
I
know.
I don't give a damn.
See, this is where I got a problem with Stephen A, man. And I want y'all to, I want you to understand, it's not because I have resentment for him as a person. I don't know Stephen A. Smith. Nor do I follow sports enough to know all the times he's done things, down to the nooks and crannies of everything he's done that was negative, other than that time he threw Kyrie Irving under the bus. He shouldn't have done that. But there are other people who hold some other stuff against him. So I really haven't been paying attention much to him on his day job. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have that. That's not the problem with Stephen A. Stephen A, to me, is mostly just talk and vacuous. It's like a vacant lot. He's a vacant lot, and he'll put on that lot whatever he thinks needs to be on that lot for whoever's walking up. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he is. My name is Lenny. Remember Lenny? Remember Lenny from Good Times? He had watches in his jacket. My name is Lenny. That's Stephen A. My name is Lenny. I got plenty. I want to watch. What about a bracelet for the wife? What about an ankle bracelet? What about a tongue ring? What about a bangle? What about a gold chain? I just feel like Stephen A, that's who he is. Okay. And I don't take that seriously, man. And not for nothing, Bill Maher, I gotta say this, bro. If Stephen A was such a straight shooter, would he have supported Kamala Harris? Stephen A knows people want to hear him say he's a straight shooter. See, even his title is plucked out of the current culture to try to harness something that he wants to try to be because he thinks right now that's what people want to hear. It's not because it's him. The guy set up and said, I didn't like Kamala's politics. I didn't like what she was running on. I didn't like the way she was running her campaign. I didn't like anything about her campaign, about the way she ran it, about her word salad, nothing. But I supported her. That's dumb shit. That's not something a straight shooter does. If he would have said, I liked her policies better, I could argue that, but I would respect it. But when you say you did something politically, even though you were against it in every way, only because that's the way the wind's blowing, but you still supported them because you didn't want to be ostracized, you didn't want D.L. Hughley and Plies and Uncle Luke and a bunch of other people who I can't think of right now coming over the mountain like zombies trying to eat your face off. Because that's what they were trying to do for him. Stephen A was not prepared to go after the Democratic zombies. He didn't know if he could outrun the zombies that were going to come, rip him to pieces alive, eat him alive, consume him. So he went along with the herd. He did exactly that. He took the blood of a dead carcass, come here, dead person, and put their guts all over him, and then he walked amongst the zombies like a zombie. Oh, I'm a zombie too. My name's Stephen A. Kamala's great. I support that sister. Of course she's black. Of course she is. She never said she was Asian and Indian. No, she's black. How dare anybody have the unmitigated gall to say she's not black? And he walked amongst the zombies. He did that shit for months, Johnson. He did it for months. And then when she fell on her face, then all of a sudden he had all this criticism for her when he knew she was out of power and seemingly couldn't hurt his ass. Yeah, once she was done, once it was over, then he drew a backbone. Then he's talking all the smack. I knew she was going to go down. How can she not lose? She went on this show and that show. He started watching, he flipped between black commentators on YouTube, like myself, and he'd he'd watch, ooh, look what he's saying. Oh, I like this. I can use this. I can be him. But they already know me, so if I steal it, no one will know because they don't watch him. I'm mainstream. So that's what he did. And I'm just saying that's what Stephen A.'s not an outsider. He's the worst kind of insider, an insider who pretends to be an outsider who wants to be inside.
And what they say. I really don't.
I know. And it's somebody, I don't either. I'm right where you are. We're very close on hard times.
Yeah.
But they've been around for a long time. So there is value in, it's an asset.
But you also have faith in California Governor Gavin Newsom, did you not?
I'd love him as a candidate. Yes, I mean you're right. He's not exactly what I'm describing now.
Right.
I think he'd be a great candidate. He has shown in recent months the ability also to move to the center. He would have to do it a lot more. Mm-hmm. But as a candidate, he looks great. Great speaker, very forceful.
Yeah, he was just hanging out with Charlie Kirk before he got whacked, making Charlie Kirk look like a human being. He was just kicking it with Charlie, talking about sending his son in Charlie camp. Remember that? That's what he was doing. See, the liberals don't have a problem with what Charlie Kirk said about black people. Nothing he said, they had no problem. They had no problems with that. They had no problems with Candace Owens. They had no problems with these people. These people are welcome, very much welcomed into their bubble. That's what they really think about us. I just want people to recognize that. Recognize the truth.
Or certainly should, where the energy is in the Democratic Party, the far left, because, he's been out front on a lot of very liberal issues, which I think is great. Gay marriage here in California. And
that whole fire thing going down in his state that he handled incompetently, then he blamed it on Bass, who blamed it on the fire people that blamed it on. But at the end of the day, isn't it like a governor in charge of how the state handles natural disasters that happen during fire season? It's amazing. No one was prepared for fire season during fire season. That was some dumb shit. Not to mention, folks, Gavin Newsom. This the guy what did he do? Did he sleep with his best friend's wife on the campaign trail or something? It's like horrible. It's like horrible stuff, like unseedy, unnatural, uncool shit, right? I remember this story. You know the story. Gavin Newsom, while his campaign managers out there fighting for him, Gavin Newsom's fighting his wife, the guy's wife, back at the hotel or something. Like, what is, fighting in the sheets? Like, what is going on? Then he went, he said he had a substance abuse or a sexual problem. He went to the Betty Ford clinic or something. I don't know. I'm just saying, Newsom has his own problems.
Like that, pollution, all sorts of stuff that we believe in. But, he does have a long trail to lose the baggage of governor of the most liberal state in the country. I tell him face to face, I've said it on the show, he went too far left for me often. But it is encouraging to see that in at least 3 places I can think of, he has moved it back to the center. But he's got a long way to go if he wants to do that.
Do you think a far lefty can win a national election in this day and age? A presidential election. Do you think that could happen?
Far left, you mean like AOC?
Yes. I'm just whether it's what you said about Newsom, whether it's an AOC. I mean, do you think somebody like that can win a general election for the presidency of the United States in this day and age? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think there's 2 things that are happening at once, and this is something that's very important for people to understand. One, there absolutely is an unprecedented abuse of power, destruction of norms.
Hold on for a second, guys. I put this together. If anybody can tell me what AOC said after you listen to this, I will send you a free mug.
I don't think so either.
I think there's 2 things that are happening at once, and this is something that's very important for people to understand. One, there absolutely is an unprecedented abuse of power, destruction of norms, erosion of our government and our democracy in order to prop up an authoritarian style of governance. That is happening. However, they are weaker than they look. And it is important that we remember that, because what they rely on is the impression of power, the perception of inevitability, in us giving up in advance to say, oh, what's going to happen if I stand up, etc. Nothing's going to happen. They rely on that perception of inevitability and power so that people comply in advance and acquiesce in advance and give up in advance. And at the end of the day, Donald Trump is at record levels of unpopularity in his tenure. The Republican House is at record levels of unpopularity. They are underwater across the board, and they know it. And that is causing them to double down in public, but it is backfiring. That is why, whether it's a shutdown, whether it's all of this, they want us to blink first. And we have too much to save. Protecting people is too important a task for us to give up before anything even starts.
I mean, that's,
Anybody got a response to that? Anybody know what she was talking about? Anybody got an idea? She said Trump's weaker. He's weak. He's so weak. The Republicans are so weak and Trump is so weak. They own the House, the Senate, and the White House. And she calls him weak. I think we don't understand what the word weak means. Then you say he's operating authoritarian as an authoritarian, but then you call him weak at the same time. How can a person be controlling things by his own self as authoritarian and be weak at the same time? That doesn't make sense. He was a bully who could not fight. He was a bully, but no one was afraid of him. This doesn't make sense. These things don't, I'm not getting what you're saying. Then she says, this is a kicker, that Donald Trump and the Republicans have record unpopularity. They're at the bottom. They've never been more unliked than they are right now. But guess what? The Democrats are even more unliked than the Republicans and than Donald Trump. The Democrats have never been more unliked, and they are more unliked by Democrats. By Democrats than they've ever been before in the history since they've been counting. Okay? That's how bad it is. So AOC, she just talked for a minute. She talked for 90 seconds. She didn't say a damn thing that made sense. Not a damn thing that made sense. She talked in circles. She put out fallacies. And then basically at the end of it, all it was a very bad Al Pacino, Any Given Sunday speech that would make no one play harder, go deeper, or protect the quarterback in any way whatsoever. It was a bad speech. It was a bad news speech. No one's inspired.
possible, and possibly it would excite a certain group of people who have not voted. And I mean, what if 80% of Gen Z voted? Could then a Mondami-like candidate win? I guess so, but I'm not expecting that to happen, and I don't think it's the smart bet for the Democrats. There was an article in the Atlantic this week about, well, the Democratic leadership keeps saying the Democrats should change course, away from the far left, but they're not doing it.
Right.
They should all read that article.
And to me, if they're not doing it, they're not paying attention to what's going to win. They just want to vent. I'm listening to Jasmine Crockett. I'm like, that verbiage ain't going to work. AOC could win the Senate seat and take it from Chuck Schumer in New York City, but that's not going to win a general election. So Mondani might win the mayor's seat in New York City, and Trump and his acolytes may be scared to death that it's going to permeate throughout the country because of what happened in Minnesota, what's happening in New York City, what potentially could happen in California. But that's not the entire country. So for me, I'm very, very worried about the left because you should be focusing on trying to win the midterms, and I don't see that happening. Do you
See, that's my thing. You say you're independent. You say, he's. I don't buy his rhetoric, man. I don't buy that he's an independent, that he's basically this straight shooter, because he's talking about the left as if it's something to save. It's nothing to save. Someone told me something very important years ago. It was like 5 or 6 years ago. There is no left, not in the way that you think it is. There is no team. There's no cohesive movement. There's no cohesion. I'm gonna get to that a little bit later in a minute because I got another piece of content we're gonna do after this one. But these are the things that make me say, not Stephen A. Smith. This guy just says stuff. Right here, he's fighting to say, they got to throw a bone to the left because they don't want to be totally in the doghouse. See, he's got to keep some type of door open for the left, some type of door open for people that are more radical than, say, Hakeem Jeffries. And that's all strategy. They're a non-factor. At this point, they are a non-factor. Unless you're running a local race. Nationally, different story. They're garbage nationally. Okay? Garbage.
Do you see any light at the end of the tunnel for the Democratic Party for 2026 or 2028? My last question to you.
I think they can win those elections. I don't think the right, as long as they appear nutty to the right, and there is a lot of nutty on the far left, as long as they appear that way to those Republicans, it doesn't matter if they win the election. The right is not going to give up power. Wow. That's my prediction. I mean, they've already shown they are perfectly comfortable with Trump still has not conceded the 2020 election.
Right.
It's, as Stalin said, it's not who wins the most votes.
Now they're saying Trump is going to try to stay president another 4 years. Come on, man.
It's who counts the votes. And so if the right still thinks that the left is an existential threat to this country because they want to rewrite all the rules of human nature and then have nobody debate them, I don't think it matters if the Democrats win. The Republicans will just find a way to say, no, actually, that's not going to happen.
And you're actually right, because
now you're saying if the Democrats beat the Republicans just say, no, you didn't. So what are we doing here? Why do we even have a government? Won't we just burn it all down because there's no government? If that's what you really believe, Bill, then why aren't you advocating for something totally different? If that's what they both believe, they both believe that there is no more government, that Trump has taken over the government, he's a one-man show, he's a strong man, it's a wrap. We're in a communist, not communist, but a fascist regime controlled by one guy. That's it, done over, donezo. Then why aren't you not sounding the alarms? Why are you so calm? Why are you so calm in your comfy, merino wool polo, sipping your cognac or whatever that was. Not your cognac, your vodka. Why are you so relaxed, bro? You should be smoking some stank.
years ago, you said that Trump wasn't going to walk away easily.
Yeah.
He was going to fight. You called it before anybody else did. And you've also pointed out that, and Gavin Newsom has now jumped on that bandwagon. They think he's going to try to circumvent the 22nd Amendment, courtesy of Steve Bannon and others, circumvent the 22nd Amendment of the Constitution, and he's going to stay after 2028 in some capacity. So all of that is stuff that we could get into at a later date. Bill Maher, host of Real Time with Bill Maher on HBO. Man, I love your show. It's the best political show on television. You're the best in the business. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join me. I really appreciate it, my man.
Always great to see you, Mr. President.
Take it easy, Bill. Take it easy. That's the one and only Bill Maher. By the way, you can catch him on HBO every Friday night.
Stephen A. Smith is all about his ego, and he feels real good when people say nice things about him. Who doesn't like nice things said about him? But I think that's what Stephen A. is all about. That and his money. His money, ladies and gentlemen.
Real Time with Bill Maher. I'm telling you, it's must-see television for anybody that cares about politics. I know I don't miss it. Let's get back to the phones at 8.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Yeah, Johnson. At the end of the day, man, don't say you're independent when you're not independent. Don't pretend that you're going to be a straight shooter and then not shoot so straight. Your gun's a little, it's still doing this, baby. That's what your gun's doing. It's kind of obvious that you still got your foot too far in the Democratic Party to truly call shit out the way it really is. And how could you make a prediction about 2028, man? It's only 2025. Anything can happen between now and 2028. Hell, anything can happen between now and the midterms, really. I mean, we really don't know. Like one really whatever thing could, I don't know. Something can happen between now and then. That's all I'm saying. Is just, like, how could you ask a guy about what the landscape will be 3 years from now? The fact that Bill wasn't like, what the are you talking about? Just shows me that this isn't a real interview, that you guys decided to publicly massage each other's egos. Jorge says, this is a new version of her macro versus micro BS speech that she did in 2020. There it is. There it is. That's what I want people to know. It was a rehearsed ramble. And it still sucked. AOC gave us a rehearsed ramble and it still sucked. Who is she talking to? A very small boutique group of progressive nerds, right? That's what she's talking to. And that type of politics is not going to work. Bernie, all his faults, and he's got a lot of faults, he was simple. Bernie was simple. They're taking all the money. They're taking all the money and the healthcare. And what do we do? And people need money to live. And the seniors need money and their insulin. And it was like very basic. But if you listen to, AOC, she sounds too much like Kamala. She sounds like Kamala to me. I'm sorry. It needs to be a lot more forthright, a lot more blunt, a lot more to the point, a lot more real. She got to cut out all the fat, stick the landing, and say it with her chest. And there's no saying it with her chest with AOC. It's all dancing. It's too much. It's improvisation. What's that dance? It's not, it's supposed to give you a feeling. You know what I'm saying? That's not the type of dance we on. People are not going to follow that. It's not going to follow. It may work in New York. I said it may work in New York. If you can make it in New York, they say you can make it anywhere. Now, when it comes to politics, not in politics, fam. I stand on it. I stand on it. All right, fam, let's keep it moving. Someone said Tim Black out here giving us pop quizzes. The Fall Guy said, Tim giving pop quizzes, fam. What's up, Fall Guy? What's happening, man? Hey, man, I'm trying to do some audience participation over this situation. Hit me up, guys. Give me a like on this joint, man. We're going to go next. We're about to have some fun now.
The Tim Black Show streams Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wolfpack.